Alright, so this is something that I've been thinking a lot lately as I've been coming across some different creative processes and especially starting on YouTube. So, how we do reduce friction between the idea and the execution, and first of all, what does this mean? Lately, I've been coming across some obstacles throughout my creative process that have been making life a bit harder when it comes from having the idea and then executing it and turning that idea in something real. This could be a photo, a video, a script, whatever. And those obstacles can come in different forms, let's say. So I'm gonna give it to you the possible ways that they come across your creative process and also how to solve it. Alright, so first problem. There was sometimes that during some of my photo shoots that some obstacles would come across and I was trying in the moment to solve those exact same problems. And this would take away all the flow and the mood that I was on during the photo shoot. And then during the shoot, I was starting to think to myself, what if back home I had put the time to plan a little bit to avoid all of these problems, and if I did so, the whole shoot would be way more enjoyable, and as a consequence I would create way more, way better, and I would feel way more happy with what I was creating. So how do I do this? For instance, I have a specific idea for a photo at a specific location, at a specific time of day, with a specific type of composition, whatever. So I sit down, I try to represent that idea that I have in mind. I do mood boards, so a collection of images that represents what I want to get. If I can draw, that would be awesome. I'm really bad at drawing, but something that I also have been doing lately is that I use AI to reproduce an image or kind of a sketch of the idea that I want to create in real life as a photograph, for example. So that has been helping me a lot. So once you did your mood board or collection of references that will build up your main idea, it's time to go to planning. So if you're shooting outside, I'm constantly checking weather conditions because it's very obvious and take a huge impact on shooting outside. Especially me, I do lots of landscape and nature, and that takes a big role, of course. And it's one thing that has a huge impact on my photography because I shoot a lot in coastal sceneries, especially here where I live in the Algarve. And many of the beaches here, the landscape there changes dramatically according to the tides, even though that some of those beaches are not accessible if the tide is too high, and some of the rock formations are not accessible and stuff. So there are very specific times of the month, depending on the tide, that I can go to the beach and make those ideas happen. So lots of planning there. So just think, what are the variables of the place that you want to be shooting at, and think how you can adapt to certain circumstances. Of course, when it takes to nature, we cannot control Mother Nature. We have to adapt, but we can check where the conditions will align and be ready for the execution. So just to conclude, that planning is very important. It should not be very extensive or very hardcore, taking away the fun. It should be the opposite. It should make you very excited to go out there and creating this thing that you have on your mind and making it real. And of course, during the creation process, you will be way more present, way more relaxed. The creativity will flow way better instead of being solving problems in the moment. Okay, so second problem, way too many choices. And I'm talking about gear. Nowadays we have so much option when it comes to cameras, lens and accessories, and it's amazing that nowadays all these pieces of gear and tools are more accessible and it's easier for us to put out there our creations, but it's very important to simplify the process. So one of the problems that I faced also, especially when traveling, that I would overpack too much, bring too much gear with me, which would cause a very heavy backpack. And when I go travel, there are some hikes involved and a lot of adventure and carrying gear. And especially I remember when I was in Thailand, we were changing islands every 3 or 4 days, and I would carry these heavy bag, and it was not fun. It was not fun actually. And by the end of a certain period of time, physically, of course, you will get more tired, and also mentally, because, for example, traveling and creating, when you have so much options, mentally also drains you a bit, because you are seeing these exciting sceneries around you and you don't know if now you would shoot wide or if you shoot with a telezoom lens. Like, you are all over the place. So bringing intention helps a lot, but simplifying the gear choice, it helps a lot too. So I remember this time that we were doing a hike in Switzerland, and it was kind of a long hike, and I was kind of feeling tired, and my creativity and my creative energy was not the same, was kind of, I don't know, faded already, and it was not possible for me to transport the visions or the energy that I would have if I was just like fresh and energized. And I also know that sometimes here at home, when I go for days out to go photograph, this feeling of feeling light, not having like lots of gear and a heavy backpack, just makes the thinking way more clear and lets the creativity flow. So that is super important. Taking that, there was one time I challenged myself to go shoot just with one lens. I had my friends coming over, we went for a sunrise at one of my favorite beaches, and I remember I chose a 50mm, which is this little lens here, 50mm, most of you might know it. It's very, very, very good lens, and I was shooting landscape photos as I usually do, but just with that lens, and the photos that I got that day are one of my favorites. I love those photos because, I don't know, in the moment the process was so simple and the ideas came out so nice. It just shows that simplifying the process brings way better results. Okay, so third problem. Focus more on your creative style rather than the technicalities. So what I mean by this is master the basics of what you are creating. This again could be photography or video, and get out there and just create, because as long as you keep creating, all those skills that you wish you had in the moment, they will develop very naturally, because you are exercising not only your creativity but also your ability to build up those same skills, if this makes sense. And by focusing on your creative style, that will automatically make your work stand out, because you will focus on this type of subjects that you photograph, the angle, the composition, the type of light you work with, and again, naturally, you will build your own recipe, if this makes sense, for your own creative style. As a consequence, as I mentioned, the skills will evolve very naturally. That could be while creating in the moment, while shooting, or while editing, while you research new editing techniques, whatever. So focus on the creative style first, always. And I want to read you a phrase that I came up when I was writing the script of this video, and it's still about this third problem, which is the more you create, the better you'll get at it, and as a consequence, a broader body of work you will have to share with the world. That will create new opportunities for you. Opportunity for growth on your own craft, but also, if you wish, opportunities in business. Alright, fourth problem, and it kind of relates to the previous one. So I got very interested on filming stuff kind of recently, but also very interested on my main passion, which is photography. So I was feeling the need of having a camera that allows me to alternate between video and photography mode very quickly. So I did so. I invested on a hybrid camera, and now I can do with a switch of a button to swap between these two modes, and it just makes creation very easily and smooths out the process. And another solution that I've been using for quite a while now, it was kind of an unconscious choice, but along the time I felt that it was a very good one, which is shooting with a very versatile lens. So most of my career, if not all of it, I've been shooting with a 24-105mm. This is a lens that I can get everything from wide to tight shots, portraits, details, whatever. I can do everything, and I've been doing everything with this lens. So it's just one camera and one lens, and I can do everything. So what if you could get all of this in a single place? So last week I did an entire photo shoot with a phone. Yeah, sounds crazy, but the process was so nice, was so smooth and fun, and the results are just insane. So the phone I used was the new Oppo Find X8 Pro. This thing is a little beast. It has 4 lenses on it, like 4 of them. It's crazy, in a phone. It's super thin, like look at this. And so it has a 15mm, super wide, awesome for establishing shots, as most of my hero shots are also very wide, showcasing most of the scenery with the presence of a human being, creating some scale on the landscape, so that works really well. It then also has a 23mm lens, very nice for kind of a more neutral perspective. Other one that I loved using was the 50mm for portraits. It just does it, you know. It's so good. Really loved it. And lastly, an 135mm, which is like a telezoom lens on your phone. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, to capture those really far away details, like the details from the top of the cliffs or the little fireball of the sun setting, and also very nice to create some photos where you want to achieve some of the background compression. Just, yeah, a phone. It's insane. And also, this phone also shoots in RAW, so you have lots of flexibility to edit in post-production. And of course, it's very obvious, but it's a phone, it's portable, you can put it on your pocket, it's super convenient. How is it possible to have all of this in a single phone? Like, I'm still crazy about it, and I think this is a great investment, even if you are an upcoming creator, or if you are still learning the basics, but already creating. The investment that it takes to get a phone like this and the returns you might have, yeah, it's totally worth it. And even as an established creator like me, I don't mind to get this phone out when I want to have just like a fun day documenting an adventure out with friends, like, because it does video, very good video also, and it's just easy to use, and the results are very good. So if you are looking for something like this, very good option. As I heard many times is that the best camera we have, it's always the one that we have with us. And most of the time, it's our phones. So I will leave the link to this phone on the description so you can check it. And if there are any other topics that you would like me to be covering in the future, just let me know, because I am super passionate to talk about this kind of things on the creative flow and creativity and all that kind of stuff. I love it. So just let me know, and I hope to see you in the next one.